Amigos de Minnesota Latin Radio, bienvenidos una vez más. Hoy tenemos con nosotros a Carol Becker. Ella fue una de las que estuvieron hablando en el documental del Precario State, el precario estado de Minnesota. Y es un documental acerca de cómo Minnesota ha decaído en muchos aspectos, como altos taxes, como muchos negocios están yendo del estado y también cómo ha crecido la criminalidad y ha declinado la educación. Y bueno, me gustaría hacer una entrevista. Carol Becker, thank you so much to be here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So we just watched the Precarious State a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Was released and it was a big hit.
Yep.
I see a lot of people watching it, a lot of people comment about it.
Right.
And you was one of the persons who commented. You one of the speakers.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit, what is the Precarious State for people who haven't heard about, or tell us a little bit about it.
So I started a newspaper called Minneapolis Times.
Yes.
And it's at minneapolistimes.com, and anybody who wants to subscribe, it's free. We send you an email once a week with all of our articles. We are all local writers, local issues. And Rick Kupchella, who had been one of the head journalists for one of the TV news stations, has been reading me and contacted me and said, hey, would you be willing to be interviewed for our documentary? We are looking at issues facing the state of Minnesota. And so I went and interviewed, and then I was included in the documentary. Very honored to be included. The documentary is really about issues that are happening here in Minnesota, and specifically in Minneapolis in particular, and what those issues are, a little bit about solutions, but really to raise these issues so we have a real community conversation about what's going on. And the issues are in Minneapolis, parts of the city have been taken over by gangs and drug users, declining test scores for our schools, declining investment in the city. We're seeing investment leave the state, kind of lack of growth in population. Overall, we are like 31st in population growth. Minneapolis is losing jobs. Minneapolis is losing investment. In the last 2 years, there's been about a $2.7 billion decline in property values, about 25,000 jobs. We've lost 25,000 jobs in Minneapolis from first quarter 2019, first quarter 2025. And then, the Minneapolis City Council has more or less been taken over by socialists.
Yes.
And we're getting a lot of really extreme policies coming out of them. And then the lack of police, which is leading to the crime and the issues that are going on, and the drug dealing and the expanding amount of open air drug use in Minneapolis, which is then leading to disinvestment wherever that happens. So,
wow.
Yeah, we have a lot.
So let's break it up. So let's start first. I wanted to say the Minneapolis Times, you are the director, you create that.
Yes.
It's free. Please sign up. That's one of the best. I take a lot of information that you don't hear for the main media, that you don't gonna hear because for some reason it's not convenient for people to hear the truth. Well, what is really happening.
And part of what's frustrating, I think, is a lot of the news right now isn't really news. We really are trying to teach people, here's a fact. Like we were just talking today, in Minneapolis, the cost of city government per capita is about $3,000 per person. New York City, it's only $2,300 per person in the city. So, I mean, we want people to have facts and to understand what really is happening with crime. And we do throw some of our own personal commentary in there, but really trying to get facts and especially a moderate perspective about what's going on in the city. And we got over 35,000
and you are very person who are very database. And you are willing to receive opinions to everybody. Nobody is rejected.
Yeah.
And
we're not just even though we're focused on Minneapolis, like Arnie Carlson, former Republican Governor Arnie Carlson has published with us several times.
Exactly.
He's come to us and said, hey, would you publish this? And we're like, happy to publish it.
Yes.
And, good, thoughtful pieces based in facts and data. Happy to be publishing it. Always looking for new people to report and people to write it. Nobody's
I actually
paid.
am writing an article for you, and I've been like, should I put ChatGPT to help me to do my my terrible spelling? But I know you can help me
for your spelling. But as long as the ideas are yours, it's
yes,
local issues.
Yeah.
And not just we don't want a rant. We want something thoughtful and well reasoned
and with facts.
And with facts.
With
not just
real
like
experiences.
I'm just whipping this out. But I tell reporters, my people, start with the fact, teach it to people. I mean, this is really about teaching people. If you then have an opinion about it, great, but start with the fact and teach people something. So yeah, it's really fun. We've been doing it about a year and starting to have a real impact on how people think about the city and they're doing things. Well, to go back to the documentary.
Yeah, but I want to back to the document. Let's start for the first part. So
Rick Capcella
came to you
and said, "Can I interview you?" And he did, and he interviewed some other people. But the documentary really is to raise these issues about what's going on, because the trends aren't good. Investments, population growth, and job growth. I mean, the things that make a place good and strong and healthy are going the wrong direction. And it does focus a lot on Minneapolis, because Minneapolis sort of is the
largest city.
It's the largest city. It's the economic engine of the state.
Yeah.
And there are just a lot of things going just wrong right now. We've seen the death of Uptown. We've seen this invasion of drug users and drug dealers. And, I get a lot of people from Minneapolis going, well, that's not true. And it's like, you just aren't living in the part of the city where it actually is true. I mean, I tell these people, simply drive underneath the I-94 bridge at Cedar and tell me what you see, and then come back. And for the people who do it, they're like, I had no idea. And I mean, this is growing throughout the city, and everywhere we see crime coming in, the city dies.
Someone after we have our interview with you the last time, someone posts a comment and say, well, no, I think they are lies, because Minneapolis is not that bad. It's just a little bit of fraud, but they are looking after, and it's not that bad. And I was like, well, let me give you the fact and see how bad it is. So what would you respond with someone to tell you, like, it's not that bad in Minnesota right now? Tell me what of the huge issues we have. Start for business leaving.
So businesses are leaving. Like I said, in Minneapolis, property values are down. In 2 years, in a good economy, in 2 years, property values declined $2.7 billion. All of the $7 billion, not million, the B word, that the value of property, because people do not want to invest in Minneapolis.
And one of the reasons they don't want to invest, why? High taxes,
crime. High crime. And another one, if you talk to some of the business owners, we have a socialist city council. In 2023, the Democratic Socialists of America endorsed 4 people, and those 4 people have been voting as a block. They have 5 people from the far left who vote with them. There's 13 city council members. You need 7 to pass a law, 9 to override the mayor, and they have had 9 people voting with them. And so we've seen just bad policy, like, we want to close I-94. My city council voted to close I-94. My city council voted to close the garbage burner next year with no plan for where the garbage is going to go, other than somehow we're going to ship it to Illinois on garbage trains, or magically assume we're not going to produce garbage anymore. We have, I can't make this stuff up.
I know.
It's so crazy. Like we're going to have a labor standards board. A labor standards board is going to then dictate how businesses are going to run. Well, who's going to be on the labor standards board? It's going to be a third business owners, a third workers, and a third activists. So how are businesses actually going to function? And we've seen this slew of what are supposed to be pro-tenant legislation, which is making it harder and harder for landlords to deal with bad tenants.
Yes.
Well, who suffers from the bad tenants? The other people in the building. So now they can't get good tenants to move into their buildings.
Yes.
And so then the value of apartment buildings has been declining. So nobody wants to invest in the city. What does not wanting to invest in the city look like? In 2000, 19, we had 4,800 housing starts, 4,800 new housing units permitted to be built in the city. In 2024, we had less than 400. Why? Because people do not want to invest in the city anymore. And because you have a city council that they just don't know what the city council is going to do tomorrow. What we're going to have rent control, which has uniformly everywhere it has ever been done, been a disaster and increased the cost of housing. We have so many bad policies coming out of the city council that people don't want to invest here anymore. And they can go out to the suburbs and invest there and not have, we're going to undo capitalism.
I saw that. That woman
we are going to end the carceral state. We're not going to put people in prison anymore.
Yeah.
We're not going to arrest people anymore. And we're really living that experience. 5 years ago, we had a movement to defund the police. And even though the vote wasn't approved, we have defunded the police. We had 950 police, and now we have almost 600. And so when we have open air drug dealing, and I will tell you, you can go, I did this drive, you can do this drive. Start at Lake and Hiawatha, drive up Hiawatha, get off at Cedar, go around Cedar, and then drive around a little bit on the west side of Hiawatha, then down Franklin and Bloomington, Franklin and Chicago, Franklin and Nicollet. Take a little turn right so you can see the building that was in Precarious State, where they had the 65 gunshots in front of it. Why there? Because there are 3 gangs that deal there. They've come to a truce after shooting at each other. And every day at 19th and Nicollet, you will see drug dealers. And then you can go down to Franklin and Nicollet. No, you can go to Franklin and Nicollet on the southwest corner. There will be drug dealers sitting there. And then you can go down Nicollet and you can see the drug dealers, the drug users, people passed out at Nicollet and Lake Street. On the corner, on the west side, on the northwest side, you will see drug dealers. On the way, you will see people passed out. You will see people huffing on foils. You will see people literally shooting themselves up. We get a video of a guy that's got his pants down, shooting himself up. In the bus stop on the north side of Lake Street by Nicollet. Just take the drive. If you say, this is not what Minneapolis is like, especially if you are from southwest or south of the creek, take that drive. Hiawatha to Cedar, Cedar to Franklin, Franklin to Nicollet, and Nicollet back down Lake Street, and tell us what you see. And if you are so privileged to say, wow, I don't experience that in my world, so it must not happen.
Right.
I will tell you, my friend Donna, who lives in Phillips, signs her emails the forgotten part of the city. That it's somehow acceptable for them to have this. But if this was happening in Southwest, people would be up in arms. But as long as it's in that part of town, it's all okay. And I just find that really offensive. So the Precarious States was really trying to bring up these issues about job loss, about investment loss, about bad policy, about crime, and the lack of police, and living what it means to be defunded. We are living that world, and it is not good. And it's leading to this lack of investment, leading to this lack of jobs. And where are the jobs that we're losing? I mean, we're like all these people, I'm the socialist, I'm here for the worker, blah, 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 blah. It's hospitality and hotels that are some of the biggest job losses. Well, why? Well, I don't want to sit and climb over a homeless person. I have no idea what they're going to do to try and get to a restaurant. Yeah. People don't want to come here and stay in the hotels. So it all fits together. So if you're caring about, poor people, well, you want them to get jobs. I don't want to have poor people because I want them to get jobs. Correct. I don't want to sit and worry about, I want rent control to help poor people. No, I want home ownership so they're not poor anymore. But those aren't the policies that we're getting out of this city council and increasingly the Minnesota legislature. Yeah. And so, the Precarious States was really trying to have this conversation about this is what it looks like and what are we going to do about it? And trying to shift into that that what are we going to do about it? I mean, it's been really interesting to me. I just did a piece for the Star Tribune that was in this weekend that talks about all of these different, because I'm watching all of the reactions to this. And one of them is not my problem because it's not in my world. And I'll tell you, we're all in this together.
We are. Minnesota is all together. Yeah.
And then there is, I'm going to crap on the other side. So if I'm a Republican, of course, everybody who's a Democrat is stupid. And then if I am the far left, everybody who brings up an issue with Minneapolis is a conservative because everything is fine here. You know, and then there is, we don't know who the funders are, so we cannot even listen to it because we are not intelligent enough to make our own decisions, and we can only watch it if we know who paid for it. But then if we knew who paid for it and they were, I don't know, wealthy, because of course this is expensive to produce, well, then we would attack them too. So all we're going to do is attack it no matter what. Because we cannot listen to it. And then there is what Pat Garofalo had said, because we did a little piece afterwards, the strategy of denial, that we are just going to deny that this is happening. And the Star Tribune has run several pieces on the strategy of denial. I mean, my favorite was Eric Roper, who was like, he literally had a picture of sunshine and sunflowers saying, this is what Minneapolis is. Yeah. And then he had a picture of nice houses. He had a picture of people at a block party. He had people drinking along the river on a beautiful day.
In a Timberwolves game or
and then the last picture was of people. Oh, and he was riding around his bicycle in a beautiful protected lane. But it wasn't until the last picture at the very bottom that you saw people passed out on the street, people selling drugs, drug paraphernalia in his bike lane. And the stuff that's facing us is real. And we need to come up with real answers and real solutions to this stuff because the trends are really bad. But more and more of the people were just like, deny. This is not happening. I'm not going to talk about it.
Or minimize it.
Or minimize it. It's not in my part of the city.
It's not that bad.
My job, I haven't lost my job, so there mustn't be people losing their jobs.
So I hear people say, okay, we're talking about the fraud, and it's like every state have fraud. Oh, yeah, at this level, like,
no.
Are you see there's almost $3 billion. We passed the $2 billion already, and they still
And but you minimize it. But you throw out all, so they minimize it. But then you start to throw out, like, you know, we are 128 out of 128 Midwest cities in housing starts. We're not just like everybody else. We're really bad.
Right.
You know, our cost per capita is crazy. People are talking about, you know, transit, like, oh, you know, our big indicator of whether or not we're coming back is whether or not people are riding transit. Okay, we're 25th out of the 25 largest metro transit systems in the country as far as recovery and ridership. Over and over and over again, no matter what metric you're looking at, we're at the bottom.
Yes.
And so what are we going to do? I mean, we have to start having real conversations.
And not only that, Carol, I think it's also when you see we have bad education, but we are okay in business. But when you see several issues at the same time, like homelessness, tax increase, business leaving, crime rising, education declining, jobs leaving, you know, no jobs, unemployment rising. It's like, okay, wait a minute. How you can minimize something that is not one issue. It's coming like every single issue, and it's going over and down. What do you think was the main cause of this? I mean, we talk about city council, but like you say, all Minnesotas are we in this together. What do you think? Why this start?
I come back to bad policy.
Bad policy.
Where are people moving? You know, we talk about where are people investing, where are people moving. Warm states with low tax rates and low regulation levels. We are a high tax, high regulation state. Minneapolis is a crazy high regulation, crazy high tax. If that's your center and your core, we've made it really hard for businesses to survive in Minneapolis. And they're leaving. And they're leaving. We know that, for example, when Minneapolis raised the minimum wage, so the Federal Reserve did this study. When they raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour, for every dollar that everybody earned more in wages, we lost $2 because businesses moved or cut hours or closed. So we made people poorer by raising the minimum wage.
Yeah.
And so where do we start having these real conversations? No, it's just easier to deny it. You know, oh, I am doing things for the workers. Really? Really? We want to put in more bike lanes for workers? Really? If you were really serious about workers, you'd be helping them get to a job.
Exactly.
You would be working with business owners to build more jobs. But instead, we see out of Minneapolis more and more things that just make business harder and harder. Unsurprisingly, because we are being led by socialists.
Right.
And when you talk to them and you listen to them, well, we're going to eliminate capitalism. Well, guess what? We tried that in the 20th century, and it was a disaster.
Yes.
It was a disaster.
And it's been a disaster.
I mean,
they talk about the compassion to talk about homelessness or address the people. They want to, the encarcelate, remove the people, take it out of the jail and the prison. And it's like, be more compassionate. When we already see how much crime it's been in Minnesota, like in Minneapolis especially.
We're not, and I'll just say, we're at Minneapolis Times not saying homelessness anymore. Minneapolis is not having a problem with homelessness. For people who get involved in the homeless program at Hennepin County, 96% of them are housed and do not go back to homelessness. We have a drug camp problem.
We do have
and so we do not say homelessness anymore. Once you start to say Minneapolis has a drug camp problem, then the answers are much different. If you want to be compassionate, you do not leave a person who is in end-stage addiction to die on the street, either through a homicide. By my house, we had 8 people shot one night, or let them die of addiction in a tent in the cold by overdosing. And we have had, I want to say, of the overdoses known, there were 350 in 2024 in homeless encampments. Is that compassion? Is it compassion to let people die in a tent? It is not. I mean, but once we start calling it drug camp and not pretending it's homelessness. I mean, Minneapolis, in the last half of last year, they offered housing to 169 people in these camps. 9 people took it.
Yes.
And so the idea that these people are homeless, they are not.
No.
They are addicts and they are drug dealers. And these drug camps, people are making millions and millions of dollars off of them, and they fight to keep them because they are making a whole lot of money off of them. Well, let's have that conversation. Go take the drive that I talked to you about, and then come back and let's have a conversation about what you saw and what we should do, and whether or not compassion is saying, here, give us a call if you ever feel like, wanting to leave addiction. Meanwhile, enjoy your drugs. Or would it be more kind to arrest them and sentence them to inpatient treatment?
Yeah.
Where they can get treatment for their addiction, they can break the cycle of drugs, and hopefully start moving into a better life where they're not going to die on the street.
Right.
Well, what is compassion? Well, we have to have that kind of conversation. And the goal of Precarious State was really to start that, to say, this is what it looks like. What are we going to do about it? Exactly. Instead of pretending this, like I said, the strategy of denial. Oh, we don't really have we have a homeless problem. We don't have a drug problem. Oh, we don't really have a job loss problem. Oh, we really don't have investments leaving the state. Oh, we're like 31st in population growth. And in the next 4 years, we're probably not going to grow at all. And so what are we going to do? Like, how do, and there are policies. I mean, we can arrest people and sentence them to treatment for the drug problem. We can aggressively increase the number of police if in the Minneapolis City Council cut police recruitment funding.
And we keep doing it. Yeah.
So Detroit has a policy of what they call recruiting cheetahs. What's a cheetah? A cheetah is a business that is poised to grow rapidly on that cusp. And they
Okay.
have people who go around, look for these businesses, and then they recruit them to move to Detroit. And they're like,
Wow.
we will subsidize you coming here if you will move here, set your business up here, and then as you grow, we're going to get all these jobs. And so we will invest in you now so we get all the jobs later. And they're
Right.
seeing real response from that.
Yeah.
Downtown Detroit is coming back because
Wow.
they are making these investments. The guy who runs Salesforce has done the strategy, bringing these other companies in, and they're seeing growth. But they have a strategy. What is Minnesota's strategy to bring to people and our businesses to our high tax, cold, high regulation state? We do not have a strategy to bring people here. We have not a strategy to bring businesses here. So is it surprising that we're not seeing investment? We're seeing billions of dollars investment leaving. Nobody's investing in Minneapolis.
No one.
Businesses are leaving, jobs are leaving. So what are you going to do? I mean, or, it's okay for you today. And then what? In 10 years, your job is
It's
gone.
not
And you're like,
sustainable.
I wonder how this happened.
Yeah. And these ladies or this city council who say, oh yeah, it does not matter the tourists, we just keep it for the people who have been here. I mean, they don't understand capitalism, right? Like
You need
a
money to
business.
come
you
here.
need to be
You can't just live
regenerate money. How could
right.
like
You can't just have money circle around in your
no,
community. You need money coming
investment,
in, investments coming in, jobs coming in, businesses coming in. You just can't eat your own stuff over and over again.
But that's the socialist ideas, and it's why we like to have the next interview that you and me have together. I want to talk about it. I don't think people understand that socialism doesn't work.
Socialism doesn't work. So the biggest human experiment of the 20th century was whether or not we should have government control the economy.
Correct.
And we'll save it for the next one. It was a disaster.
It was
a disaster. Empty stores, empty shelves, overproduction, underproduction. People went hungry. People died. Estimates are maybe 100 million people died from socialism and was abandoned. But we will talk about that more.
We have to talk about about it.
Yes.
Let's go there. But I really, with you, I'm very impressed because you know so much and you have experience. You were a formal city.
I was an elected official in the city of Minneapolis.
So you have the experience.
I do.
So with you, I have to go let's talk about this because you can talk everything, literally.
Talk a lot.
So I'm going to put a pause so we can wrap it up about the Precarious State. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I see you in a little bit to talk about the socialists.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.